Hey guys, this is just a summary of the video in case you don't want to watch the whole thing. May 2024 was all about being aware. So being mindful of portions, cravings, trying to notice when you're not hungry anymore so that you can train yourself to stop eating when you're not hungry instead of eating when you feel full. Catching yourself, going into autopilot and asking myself if I've had enough fruits and vegetables or water or fiber. That mainly applies to stuff in the evening. Recently, especially if you've just worked out or went a long period of time without drinking water or eating. So you can see even in my notes, I would write down, you'll see it later, my thought process as I was eating, before I ate, after I ate, and how these questions come into play and how they made me stay on track way better. Notice how skipping meals affects you. Usually it makes it worse. Notice how alcohol affects you. Usually it makes it worse. Notice patterns. Practice mindfulness to repeatedly catch yourself when making servings or opening up bags or containers to eat. Practice asking yourself questions like, am I not hungry anymore? Is what I'm feeling actual hunger? Or is it just not feeling what I'm used to feeling, so my body's telling me something's different, and that's scary and bad. So that basically just means catching myself on autopilot, catching myself doing the things that I'm used to doing and going, whoa, hang on a second. Like, are you actively choosing to open up this bag of chips? Are you actively choosing to just start making pudding? Like, what are you doing? Catching yourself. Label the behavior so you can understand it. This helped a lot. So I called it zombie mode, autopilot, vacuum mode, and I think some others, but those are the main ones. And basically they're all identifying a pattern of behavior where I just eat a lot at once because I didn't have enough snacks in between meals for the day, or I skipped a meal, I didn't have enough water, and I'm eating until I'm full. I'm just going and out like I'm surviving, like I'm getting ready for like nuclear fallout or something, and I'm just like raiding the shelves, and I'm not paying attention to those things that I'm asking myself. And I'm not asking those questions either. So it was about catching myself like that, asking the questions, and then fixing the behavior. Basically, those modes are just you're eating till you're full, meaning the pressure of your stomach, you can actually feel it, and you physically can't eat anymore. Like, that's what I call zombie mode, autopilot, vacuum mode. Eating until you're like physically feeling it, as opposed to you have a portion of something, you have a handful of something, and then you go, okay, let me have some water and tidy up my desk, and then, oh, I'm not really worried about food anymore. Okay, that was cool. That's kind of like the goal of what I was trying to get to. I'm glad I didn't, yeah. Big takeaways were the ability to catch myself. So over a month, you do catch yourself enough times, and you just repeatedly tell yourself, hey, like, did you have enough water? Did you have fruits or vegetables? If it's in the evening, hey, why don't you have a couple spoonfuls of fiber, and then some more water? It's just catching yourself again and again and again. It adds up over time, and pretty soon you have a new habit pattern. You have a new pattern of behavior. You're able to catch yourself in your old ways, and you're able to establish new old ways. So you're kind of reprogramming yourself. Dividing portions into two, scaling portions down. Yeah, I did that at the halfway through May. I realized that. I was like, hey, I'm meal prepping. This is everything that I would usually eat. Well, what I usually eat is too much. We know that because I'm gaining weight. So let's just cut all these in half. And I realized I would eat that half portion, and I felt way better. I would go, wow, good thing I didn't heat up this whole thing and eat it, because I didn't need to. I'm not hungry anymore after I eat my half portion. And if I had a training in the morning or training later or 2 trainings that day or whatever, I would just add a little bit of vegetables to make up for the space. That way it's like a little bit more satiating. So learn that. That was a good tip. Give myself healthy alternatives and snacks to satiate me and meet my goals. Yeah, so cheese sticks, grapes, strawberries, blueberries, yogurt, and protein shakes are going to be your friend. Having vegetables like carrots and broccoli that you like and that you can eat, super helpful. Fiber in the evening was huge. I'd do 2 teaspoons or whatever, like silver spoons of it. And then I'd drink water before. Then I'd have the 2 teaspoons of fiber, and then I'd have fiber, and then I'd have water to rinse it out and drink it. So it helped me drink enough water, and it helped me get necessary fiber that I need throughout the day. Not everybody needs that. I personally just think it helps kind of bulk everything up, and I don't know. I think it helps with making yourself feel a little bit more full, and regulates a couple other things. Drinking water, having fruits and vegetables before or after eating to prevent that vacuum mode, zombie mode, autopilot mode. That was, okay, drinking water, having the fiber, fruits and vegetables, it became my new standard. It's like Charlie Day and Frank Reynolds in It's Always Sunny, how they come home at night and they just immediately eat their cat food, huff their glue so that they can go to sleep because they know the process so well, they know what's happening. That kind of became my new standard. So instead of like raiding the fridge, opening up something and eating while I'm microwaving junk and eating Reese's cups and eating handfuls of M&Ms, whatever, instead of that, that became my new norm because I knew from so many times of doing it and catching myself and going, wait a second, when's the last time you had water? Oh shit, okay, well, let me drink some water. Right off the bat, I'm going from 100 to like 90. Okay, did you have your fruit bowl? Oh shoot, I didn't eat my fruit bowl. Where is it? Oh, I did eat my fruit bowl, but that was like at noon, and it's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock right now, so let me have an apple. Okay, cool, now I had an apple. Now I'm at like a 70 in terms of like hunger. Then I heat up like my chicken and broccoli or my mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts, whatever I was eating. While that's heating up, have another water. Oh, dude, it's in the evening. Have some fiber. Okay, now I'm at like a 30 or a 40 hunger scale, and I already feel kind of full from the water and fruits and stuff. So that would be my new norm. That'd be my new behavior, and that helped me a lot. Coming home, hey, if you know you're hungry and you know you haven't had what you need to have what you need to have. So my new standard would be come home, drink a thing of water, change, have some fruit, shower while my food's heating up in the microwave, have some fiber, have some water, and then I'd eat my meal. So that was huge. I also realized how eating poorly one day can actually impact the rest of the week in terms of cravings, recovery, timing, weight, motivation, and more. Yeah, if you go crazy on like Friday and you feel bad about it, that's going to impact your Saturday. And then your Saturday is going to impact your Sunday. Your Sunday is going to impact your Monday. Mondays, you might get it back on track, but it might impact your Monday, Tuesday. So you're really not going to be back on track until like Wednesday in terms of weight. And you can look back and see all the weights that I recorded. You can see whatever my weight was Thursday, Friday, it didn't get back to that until about Wednesday or Thursday the next week. If I went to a party, went to a restaurant, or something like that, ate a bunch of junk, takes a really long time. So for motivation stuff, that just kills motivation. It's much better to eat in moderation and have more healthier like portions of that stuff so you don't go losing all your motivation. For the weightlifting side of stuff, I realized I was overtraining and not training efficiently. That was kind of like late May, early June, so I revised my workout plan. Basically, I was just hitting too many of the same muscles for my days, like push, pull, legs. For the push day, I was working too many of the pretty much same muscle areas, so by the second or third workout, it's like the damage is done. The work you needed to do is done. You should be doing other exercises with other muscle groups, not just staying on the same muscles. And then same with pull, pretty much. Be like all the same muscle groups. So I figured that out and worked around that. So that was cool. We'll see how things go in June. But yeah, this is pretty much just a summary, and then the rest is kind of like an in-depth analysis. But it might be a lot of rambling. So thank you. All right, so I'm actually just redoing this because my intro actually covered a lot of it. You can see my weight at the top, the date at the top, and then what I ate and at what time for like the first week or so. Being really detailed about what I ate, when I ate, I think it helped a lot for looking back and looking at patterns, but it's not really doing anything in terms of progress or meeting your goals if you don't have a plan going into it. So this is definitely good for looking back on it. You can see that there is no plan. You see donuts, you see pancakes, you see beer, you see quesadillas, you see stuff like that. And so it is good for looking back and being like, wow, we see what happens when I don't have a plan. That's cool. But I do want to say that wasn't what the point of May was. That's just a benefit of looking back and seeing that. It's like, oh, wow, we see what happens when there's no plan. I wonder what's going to happen when I dial it in and I learn what I learn and then apply it. So yeah, May was all about just mindfulness, catching myself in patterns of behavior. What do I notice? How do I feel? Why do I feel that way? Stuff like that. You can see my weight. I think I guess it went down a couple pounds. I lost all my individual data points for the month of May, but I actually have them here in my notepad, thank God. So I made a note of that for June, like, hey, at the end of June on your weight app, when you step on the scale, make sure you do a video recording of it, because as soon as you go the next day, you'll lose June 1st, and then the next day you'll lose June 2nd, and it'll get replaced. So Unfortunately, I don't have a pre-scale, but I mean, you can make a scale. You can make a little data plot with all these weights. I guess I could do that too in another video. But yeah, this was all about, me having a journal, kind of like journaling your feelings. Then you can look back and realize what your triggers are and how you reacted. You kind of have a little bit of a detachment from it, right? You're not just like me. I was thinking, hey, I'm doing pretty good. Like, I'm doing pretty good. Like, yes, sometimes I eat ice cream as, a treat or a reward, but like, I'm doing pretty good. And then I'm looking back at this food journal and I'm laughing and I'm going, wow, this is like, it's okay, but like, what was the plan? There is no plan. So yeah, this month, all about mindfulness. Hey, why do you feel that way? Can you catch yourself when you're opening up a bag of chips? Can you catch yourself when you're about to have another portion of something, when you haven't even had any water, fruits or vegetables or whatever? So yeah, it was huge for that. It was huge, and I think that this is a necessary building block. It's a necessary foundational element to the next step, which is going to be identifying parts of your diet that you can improve, and then implementing those action points, those healthy implementations and replacements, so that you can have a more structured diet throughout your day. I don't think that is going to be possible if you don't do this first. So you need at least a month of just repeatedly catching yourself. Wow, I was about to eat, just instinctively, I was about to grab another donut when I'm not even hungry anymore after the first one. I feel kind of sick, honestly. Hey, I see what happens when I drink on Friday with my friends and we have margs and quesadillas and nachos and chips and salsa and daiquiris and egg rolls or PF Chang's, whatever. I see how I feel after that. I'm noticing how easy it is to eat however many calories you would normally eat in a day or 2 days in one sitting. Because you're there at a restaurant for a couple hours, you're going out with your friends for a couple hours, like, that shit adds up very quickly, and you can see that, right? So I think it is very, very, very important to just practice mindfulness, practice portions, practice catching yourself, and don't even worry about counting calories, don't worry about how much protein, how much fat, how many carbs, don't worry about any of that. You've been living however you've been living for however many years. It's going to take a little bit of time. You can afford a month of just observation and implementing strategies that help you stay inside the tracks and on the rails. Because otherwise, you can implement whatever you want. You can implement whatever practices, however many grams of this and grams of that, whatever you read, and where's it going to get you? If you don't have this necessary, if all you're going to do is come home when you're hungry and just eat a bag of chips. Does anything that you did matter? In some ways of looking at it, no. In some ways, yes, of course it matters. It's always good to do good things, but sometimes it's like in the big grand scheme of things, no. Nothing you did mattered, because you're just going to keep coming home and eating ice cream. You're just going to keep coming home and drinking 2 beers and have a quesadilla. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just very important to consider, very important to have a month of reflection. And if it takes longer, it takes longer. You can see that my weight slowly went down at the end there just a little bit. But ultimately, it's going to hit a plateau, and you're going to lose a lot of motivation, and you're going to feel like crap, like I did, because that's cool. You're aware, you're mindful. But at some point, you got to lock it in. The next stage of this, after being mindful, being aware, catching yourself, setting up good habits, setting up good strategies, to where you can go, hey, I think I'm ready to take this to the next level. What's the next step? Next step is locking it in. Okay? It's going to be restricting certain things. It's going to be eliminating certain things. It's going to be something that you're not used to, that's going to be a shock to your system, that you need in order to get to the next step, in order to build more muscle, in order to gain weight or lose weight. You have to change your diet. You have to write it out. You have to plan it, and you have to know what you're putting in your body every day for the next couple months to get where you need to go. Maybe even years, depending on what your plan is. So, you need a strong foundation. You need guide rails set up. You need them put into place. You need tracks. That way you can accomplish whatever the next thing is that you're going to go for. And that all comes from writing down, hey, I was starving at lunch. I ended up eating this. I gave my friend $5 to pick me up something when he was at Subway. I raided the fridge. I was eating stuff that was expired. And then you can look back and go, oh, wait, I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't have any snacks. I didn't eat dinner the night before. Or I didn't have enough, It's very important. This is like a breadcrumb trail to all your inner demons and where they live, all your subconscious desires, all your fears, and it's all right here, So, yeah, very important, very crucial. I would say vital to your success. Writing everything down. What do you eat? When do you eat it? What's your weight? How do you feel? And rewarding yourself anytime you catch yourself. Hey, I came home, I was starving, I was going to make a PB&J and an omelet and heat up the lasagna and make a smoothie. And then I just stop myself and I go, wait a second, why don't you have some water first? Why don't you have some grapes? All right? Then just see how you feel. Like you're going crazy and let's chill out a little bit. And every time you do that, it reinforces that behavior. It reinforces that positive nurturing of yourself and healing of your inner child, healing of your soul, basically. It's like a direct line to your soul through the subconscious. And it's incredible. It's awesome. So you get to learn stuff like, hey, wait a second. What if I just make everything that I normally make and cut it in half? And I just bring both. That way I have the option of I eat my half sandwich and then I go, oh, I'm actually still hungry. Oh, okay, well, eat the other half of your sandwich then. Or, oh, I'm actually not that hungry because I had some water, I had some grapes, not really that hungry anymore. Okay, cool. Now you can have that half sandwich before you work out or after you work out, or bring it home and eat it for dinner and then see how you feel. And then you're going to be eating that much less for that day. So it's awesome. All right, highs and lows of this month. So the first week when I was really trying to catch myself and don't go crazy just because you're telling yourself that you're hungry. It was really helpful to say, hey, what'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have for a snack? What'd you have for lunch? What'd you have for a snack? What'd you have for dinner? And in doing that, I would tell my body hey, wait a second, you're actually fine, dude. I think you're just not used to feeling the feeling of not being full. I know that's kind of a mouthful, but it makes sense if you break it down. It's hey, are you actually hungry, or are you just not, stuffed to the gills like it's Thanksgiving? So catching myself like that was huge. There was only 2 or 3, 4 nights maybe where I was going to bed and I slightly felt hungry. And I was able to just recap the day and just go, hey, what'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have for a snack? What'd you have for lunch? Whatever. And I'd go, oh, you know what? That's true. Even if I worked out, I'd go, hey, I'm good. That sounds like a lot of stuff. It seems like I'm probably at whatever I burnt for the day. Maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit under, but I'm fine. I need to be able to sit with this feeling because I'm not in any danger. I can go buy a grocery cart full of groceries if I wanted to. I have food in my pantry. I have food in the fridge. I need to be able to squelch this feeling of, I need to eat right now. I have to. And so I only had to do that a couple times. That was hard. I would have chicken broth or beef broth, or tea. What helped a lot was just drinking fluids, maybe getting some salt in there, and flavoring so that it seemed like you ate. And that helps when that happens, but that may happen. You might feel your body kind of being I need food. So you got to just be able to recap the day. What'd you eat? Be rational with yourself, be honest, and be hey dude, you're fine. Come on. I think this is one of those things you got to get over. Now, if this is happening a lot, like more than 5 times in a month, more than 7 times in a month, I would probably be more careful about what you're eating throughout the day. Maybe eat a little bit later. I don't know. You got to figure that shit out. I'm not a doctor. Because for me, it only happened like 3 to 5 times. And sometimes it went away quickly. Sometimes it lasted a little bit longer. And I would just have chicken broth or some kind of tea. And I would feel better. Excuse me. So, yeah. I would figure that shit out. It shouldn't be happening every single fucking day. That sounds miserable. This is about listening to your body, taming the inner demons, and being a better person as a result, and getting closer to your goals and being able to start the next step. Not restricting yourself, putting yourself in a corset, and sweating out every night because you're starving. That is not what this is about, okay? This is being rational, understanding your emotions, understanding your thought process, understanding your subconscious, and taming the beasts within. That's what this month is about. So, yeah. Another low point was near the end when I was just pretty much at the same weight. I was very, very, very frustrated because I realized that whenever I would weigh myself in the evening, it would reset, and then the next morning when I would weigh myself in the morning, it would take whatever I did the evening before and it would replace it for the day before's morning. So basically what that means is every time I would step on the scale in the morning, the weight that I stepped on the evening before would replace that day's morning. So that means I'd step on the scale in the morning. Cool. Oh, wow, I'm 232. That's awesome. Then in the evening when I step on and I'm 236, and then I step off and I don't save it, and I go, okay, 236, that's 4 pounds. Cool, that makes sense. Like water and food and probably got to take a shit. 4 pounds. Okay, that makes sense because I'm just curious. The next day when I step on the scale, boop, boop. Okay, cool, 232, 233, 231, whatever. Then I look at the day before and it's saying 236. And I'm going, wait a second, I wrote down 232. Oh, dude. So I realized way too late that when I stepped on the scale in the evening, even though I wouldn't let it save, it would just show the number, and then I would like not have my app open so it wouldn't sync. It would like stay on the screen, and then like disappear, and I think it would just stay in the memory until it had something to add it to. So that was really annoying. So that's why I recommend just weighing yourself in the morning. You can weigh yourself in the evening to kind of get a gauge of like how much water you're drinking and how much meals affect you, but it's not crucial. I kind of just liked doing it so that I saw what my range was throughout the day. Like, hey, you're anywhere between 230 and 236 or 234 and 240. Because then I could kind of see like, hey, wait a second. Did you eat too much today? Did you drink too much today? Did you not eat enough? I just use it as kind of like a data point for reference. You can never really have too much data. But for June, I don't think I'm doing that anymore. Because I don't want to mess up my graphs. And I want to have a realistic representation of what my actual weight is. I don't want to be resetting anything or doing anything that I don't want it to do. And also because, I did it for a month. I get it. It's going to change between 4 and 6 pounds. In general, if you see a huge number in the evening, you're probably going to have more weight the next day. But that could be poop. That could be water. It doesn't really tell you that much. But yeah, kind of a cool data point, I guess. But just be careful with that. So that was one thing. And then B, what was also hard was same thing with that weight. When you have that plateau of weight, it's really frustrating and annoying because it's like I feel like I'm being aware. I feel like I'm stopping myself from doing a lot of things that I used to do. And, dude, I'm just at the same weight. Like, doesn't matter how much I work out. Doesn't matter whatever. And, dude, that is fine. Get to the point where you plateau. Get to the point where you're stalling. Get to the point where you're stale. Get to the point where it's not moving anymore. That's awesome because that means you've done everything you could. That means you've done everything right, and now you're at the point where you're ready for the next step. And that's going to be what I'm doing for the month of June, and that'll be in the next video. And honestly, make no mistake, this is very, very, very difficult. This is challenging as fuck. This might be one of the hardest parts of your journey. Whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, maintain, gain muscle, whatever. This is one of the hardest parts because, yeah, you're being mindful, you're noticing, you're paying attention, but I mean, ultimately, dude, you're trying to implement and take action and use the information that you're gathering to make lasting, meaningful change. So that's the hard part. You can notice all you want. I guarantee you one of these days you're going to go, hey, I'm noticing all this stuff. What are some ways that I can be better about it? What are some ways that I can work around it? And you're going to realize that anytime you're making a change, it's hard. It's challenging. It's hard to change something that you've been doing for a long time and replace it with something else, right? That's difficult. So make no mistake about this. It may look easy on paper. It may seem like it's way harder to count calories and, cut foods out of your diet, whatever. But the hardest part may be being mindful, looking at yourself in the mirror, facing the person that's looking back at you, and coming to terms with how you usually behave, how you usually act, and seeing how you can make changes and seeing how those changes go. It's hard not feeling full when you're used to feeling full. That's hard. You can tell yourself all day, oh, you had this for breakfast, you had a snack, you had this for lunch, you had a snack, then you had dinner, you had a snack. Like, you're good, dude. Like, you should be good. Bro, tell that to my body when I feel like I've gone days without eating and it's like 8:30 at night and I just want to go to sleep and just be done with it. Like, bro, I'm so close to just falling asleep. Why can't I just sleep? And my body is like just a little bit hungry, a little bit empty to where I notice it. Make no mistake, that might happen, and it's hard. It's hard, dude. It's hard repeatedly catching yourself eating snacks that you're not supposed to be eating, or overeating, or not portioning things out. It's hard. You got to be vigilant, and you got to be paying attention, and you got to be honest with yourself every day, because it's going to take a couple dozens all the way up to a couple hundred times of telling yourself, what are you doing? What should you be doing? Okay, now do that thing that you're supposed to be doing, in order for that to become the new norm. It takes a lot of iterations of that for that behavior to be replaced with the thought process and then the behavior of what you ideally want to do, until pretty soon it's just you're doing the behavior that you want to do. It takes a while. This is kind of like taking your puppy to the discipline school, taking your dog to the training academy, taking your it's kind of like that. It's all rambunctious and wild, and it just wants to bite and bark and yap and shit all over the place and piss all over the place and run around, and you gotta put the limits on it. You gotta show it what consequences are. You gotta have a trigger word or like a warning word so that it knows to stop what it's doing, or else it's gonna get that penalty. It's a long, arduous process of being vigilant, and it's exhausting. And it is extremely demoralizing when you realize that you're doing the thing that you're not supposed to be doing. Like halfway through eating ice cream, you're going, wait a second. Bro, I'm in zombie mode right now. Dude, shit. Well, okay, that sucks. I guess put this away now. Damn it. But every time that happens, there's going to be a time where you're about to reach for it and you pick it up and you stop and you go, wait a second, I don't want to eat this ice cream. I gotta have fruits and vegetables. I gotta eat my dinner. I gotta have a snack. I gotta have some fiber. That's a win. That is a huge win. So every time that the negative happens, there's going to be a positive time. If you do it long enough. There'll be a positive time for each negative time. And that positive feeling, dude, it is like someone splashing cold water on your face. It is like being promoted every time you do it. It's like, whoa, level up. Who's this guy stopping himself? And dude, every time you stop yourself before you even open up the freezer, that's like being promoted twice. It's like 2 points. It feels even better. And then before you know it, you'll be catching yourself before you're even about to think about opening up the freezer. And that's 3 points. That feels like being promoted 3 times. If you're walking on sunshine, it is an amazing feeling to realize that what you've been doing is working. And it just takes time and practice. And it takes vigilance, being honest with yourself, and noticing your behavior. But yeah, I just wanted to add that, just so you know, this is hard. This is as hard as working out. It's as hard as training for a marathon. It's as hard as cutting calories. It's as hard as adding calories. It's hard. You got to be a sheepdog watching sheep. And your brain is going to play tricks on you. Your stomach is going to play tricks on you. You're going to play tricks on you. And you got to be aware of all the games. You got to be aware of all the tricks. And it's like a kid that's constantly trying to be a troublemaker. It's like a dog that's constantly trying to run away. It's like you got to be vigilant. You got to pay attention. You got to be careful. And you always have to be aware. And the harder you are on yourself, the more often you're doing it, the shorter it takes before the desired behavior takes place. If you're lackadaisical as fuck, making excuses for yourself, pissing away every other opportunity, not catching yourself till after the fact, or noticing what's happening and just powering through it and doing it regardless because you want to be a little, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways. I did that so many times. I would know, hey, not only are you not hungry anymore, your stomach is like full. Like, I don't even know what you're doing anymore, because usually you're just trying to go until you're full because that's what you used to do. Now it's almost like you're punishing yourself on purpose and going even beyond what you normally would do just because you're telling yourself not to do it or to be aware of it. So it's a dance, it's a game. Just know that it's about the long term. It's about the long term. Be friends with yourself. Be your own teacher. Know that everything you're doing is because of love and the long term, and it's only going to benefit you in the future. Everything that you want is attached to that. Don't be so hard on yourself when you mess up, and for the love of God, try not to actively sabotage yourself and betray yourself just because you want to and you get a little endorphin rush out of it, saying, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want. Trust me, the more that the more that you do this, the shorter it takes for it to kick in and the better you'll feel. Honestly, I caught myself a good 12 to 20 times just automatically like reaching for stuff and doing stuff before I was like, wait a second. Like before the thought process of like, how much water did I have? Did I have fiber? Did I have fruits and vegetables? Did I have snacks throughout the day? Like, let me reevaluate stuff because something's not right that I feel this way. I shouldn't feel this way. It took like a dozen to 24 times off and on of doing that before it became my norm to kind of run through that checklist when I got home and reach for the Brita filter before I reach for the fridge, you know, to reach for the bowl of grapes before I reached for the bag of chips. You know, it takes time, but pretty soon it does become the norm, and it's absolutely fucking worth it, and you're going to have a strong foundation because of it, and your life is going to change because of it, and you got to be able to lock this down and lock this in before you can move on to anything else. So start now.